Right, and just to continue this discussion a bit, I told you earlier that we have Governor Ahmed Adulahi, Wajir Governor, in studio. Welcome and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start with that big question that we're asking. Do you think the teachers who have refused to go back should be fired?
Well, I think at some point a judgment call has to be made and decisions have to be taken, because one way or the other, the kids have to be taught. So I think that question is best answered by TSC. But I do think that it can only go on for so long. And government has already given an ultimatum to the effect that by Monday they ought to be there. And we do hope that they will be there.
So if they're not there on Monday, because the teachers are quite adamant that they're not going back, what happens then?
I think we've got to, be honest with each other and look at the situation on the ground. Yes, there were incidents that happened. Yes, they were very bizarre, like we saw the last two in Mandera. Yes, security is a concern, not only in the region, but in the whole country. But government has made interventions since, and a lot of patrols are happening now. A lot of effort has been put. As we speak, there are 35 private schools in Wajir town today, with over 250 non-local teachers. These are not TSC employed teachers. They've been employed by the private schools. And those teachers are at work. We have 131 medical healthcare workers, of which only 23 have not reported so far. All the rest have reported. We have thousands in the private sector, non-locals, working in Wajir town. Plumbers, carpenters, mirror traders, you name it. And they're all working. So I think we will, yes, I do understand that, there could have been a panic attack as a result of what happened, and some people could genuinely have felt, very, very unsafe. But matter of fact is, Wajir is part of Kenya, Mandera is part of Kenya, Garissa is part of Kenya, and there's already a lot of integration in those particular counties, in those particular towns. And there are a lot of Kenyans from elsewhere that are working there.
Let's talk
we have engineers, we have artisans, we have technicians, you name them. How come it's not unsafe for those ones, but it's only unsafe for teachers?
Do you think that you've mentioned that there are 250 teachers who've been employed by private schools?
Yes.
Who are already in school teaching? Is it something that the private schools have done, maybe measures they've taken to ensure that they are safe?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Whatever interventions we've made have been made by government, county government and national government working together. The security agencies have done their bit. There are patrols now at night. The county government has put lots of lighting in the town. And in the case of Wajir, of some odd 400 and so settlements, the only place where attacks have been happening is in Wajir town. The last one that happened was on 22nd of December, where one KPR, who is a local, was killed. So there is nothing that those private schools have done that we have not done for the public schools. I think it's just a case of, some of the teachers being opportunistic here and taking advantage of these bad incidents that have happened and trying to use that to transfer out of the region. The region is a hardship area, even without those security challenges. But fact of the matter is, a lot of these teachers were employed by the board of governors of those particular schools for those schools, because TSC was giving the slots to the BOGs of the schools. So it can't be that at the earliest opportunity you want to go back to your home.
Well, apart from insecurity, there have been other concerns. Teachers have, aired some concerns which actually border on cultural matters.
Right.
Some female teachers have come out to say that not only is insecurity a big problem, but they've also been having cases of sexual harassment, especially at night, and all these other issues. Do you know about these issues?
I have seen the grievances. We have discussed this in a couple of meetings with all stakeholders, including TSC, the Labour Ministry, Interior Ministry, and those things, cannot be proved. Whatever you're saying is crime. and there is a process of reporting crime.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching TV the other night, and one of the teachers who was saying actually that his house has been marked by Al-Shabaab.
Mm-hmm.
Is a teacher in a place called Hadado, which is close to 400 kilometers from the border, where Al-Shabaab is virtually non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one of those places where you would even expect,
Mm-hmm.
it's at risk of
Mm-hmm.
Al-Shabaab and that kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there is, we need to scratch below the surface. We need to be a bit more in-depth in our analysis. We need to look at these things. Some of the allegations being made that they can't teach certain subjects, those things. I schooled in Wajir for my primary education in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Even at that time, when we were much less developed, when the road situation was worse, when the water situation was worse, more than half of the teachers
Mm-hmm.
were non-locals.
Mm-hmm.
The teachers who taught us
Okay.
and took us through the system were non-locals.
Mm-hmm.
The place is much better today than it was in the early 80s.
Okay.
So I think those are unfounded.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are incidents, specific incidents of crime, then they ought to have been taken through the process of due process of law.
All right.
But I think a lot of it is fabrications.
Okay, we are running out of time, but then finally, at the end of the day, it's the children, the young children who we've
Right.
just seen in that story, who are suffering. Is there a plan B, and what is the end to this? As the governor of one of the places that is
We
affected.
appeal to our teachers to be honest in this. There are more than 5,000 Kenyan teachers today
Mhm.
teaching in Somalia. In Somalia, in the heartland of Al-Shabaab territory, you'll find Kenyan teachers working there. In Mogadishu,
Mhm.
where bombs go off every day,
Mhm.
in Kismayu,
Mhm.
in places as remote as Garowe and Boale in the
Mhm.
heartland of Somalia,
Okay.
they're Kenyan teachers.
Okay.
They're Kenyan hotel managers. A lot of the hotel workers are Kenyans.
Okay.
So I think it's a question of teachers trying to transfer out of a hardship area. This is one country.
Mhm.
Probably today you'll find Kenyans working in Iraq,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
Where there's ISIS and
Yeah,
all sort of
yeah.
insecurity.
Mm.
I think if those teachers refuse to go back, then decisions have to be taken by TSC.
Okay.
There are a lot of unemployed teachers. They should be put on the payroll, and those ones will take up the jobs.
All right.
I am
Thank you
sure
very much.
if TSC was to offer
Mhm.
jobs to those teaching in private schools today in Wajir town,
Mhm.
they will jump at it
All
and
right.
take it.
All right.
Yeah.
Governor, thank you very much for your time.
Most welcome. Thank you very much.
All right. Governor Ahmed Adulahi there talking about the education crisis in northern Kenya.